And now, from Louisville, Kentucky, the horse capital of the world and sports junkies' finest, giving you wagering advice and sports analysis. It's On the Switch with your host, Gino G.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. On the Switch here, I'm your host, Gino G. Thanks for coming back. I really do appreciate it. A couple of shout outs as we start here. Shout out to Vince Tyra, who had a huge win in the form of keeping head baseball coach Dan McDonnell for the University of Louisville. As you all know, myself and Travis T included, we are huge Louisville fans, so that's a big win for us. Vince Tyra, he got Chris Mack in for the basketball coach, now keeps Dan McDonnell. He's keeping things going in the right directions for the University of Louisville, so congratulations to the baseball team as a whole. They did not get through the Lubbock Regional, which was kind of a big task to ask, as Texas Tech, one of the best offensive teams in the nation. They weren't able to get the job done, but a big congratulations to them, as they are now the winningest baseball team in Division I since Dan McDonnell has been there since 2007. 544 wins, 6 consecutive seasons of 40-plus wins, which is number one in the nation. The only team that's done that in the past 40 years. So big shout out to the University of Louisville. Congratulations to them. Secondly, NBA Finals. Actually, let's switch over to NHL. Stanley Cup Finals. Last night, the Washington Capitals took care of business in Vegas, winning the series 4-1, taking down the Stanley Cup, getting Alexander Ovechkin the one thing that he has coveted most. Alexander Ovechkin, as we all know, will probably go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest scorer of all time. Did get the job done, played so well. Unbelievably well in the Stanley Cup. Fleury for Vegas just wasn't able to stop Washington enough. Washington ends up winning the series 4-1. Congratulations to them, winning their first Stanley Cup. Lastly, NBA Finals. Okay, NBA Finals. Both Travis and I, we both liked Golden State to win the series. Travis went on record by saying Golden State in 6. He thought maybe Cleveland would win both games at home to start to even the series 2-2, and then Golden State would win the last two. Unfortunately, for him at least, Golden State was able to take Game 3 110-102 to take a 3-0 lead going into tonight's Game 4. I will be honest, I hate being a skeptic or one that says the NBA won't allow it, because that is almost in a way far-fetched, but I will be honest and say, if LeBron James, who I believe is the greatest of all time, okay, the NBA is not going to allow LeBron James to get swept, period. End of story. I do like the Cleveland Cavaliers to take care of business tonight, but as they go back to Oakland, Golden State will win Game 5, as I predicted. Golden State in 5, 4-1 to take the NBA Finals. Again, the game tonight, Friday, 9 p.m. from Cleveland. Cleveland is a favorite, which is not surprising. I will actually, if I'm going out on a limb here, let's look up the actual live odds so I can be accurate here. Cleveland, as I saw earlier, was the favorite. Let me see. I'm pulling it up. Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. I do apologize. Golden State is a 4.5 point favorite tonight. 4.5 point favorite. Over under 215.5. I will say this. Again, I don't believe the NBA will ever let LeBron get swept. Period. Right? With that being said, get the 4.5 points. Take the points. Take Cleveland. If you want to get a little bit risky, you can take them money line plus 130. I like that as well. Going on the record for the first time probably on the Switch, Travis might actually have to go back and say, oh, wait, maybe you've given an opinion one other time, but I believe this is the first time, as you will see as we get deeper into the year when it comes to college basketball, college football, even some of the NFL, I will be going on record giving you free selections just as I am here. Take Cleveland, get the points, 4.5, 5 in some areas it looks like. Take Cleveland, money line maybe even as well at plus 130. Going on record, Gino G, Cleveland plus 4.5 tonight. Takes care of business, and then game 5 back in Oakland on Sunday, possibly Monday. I could be wrong. Could be Monday. They might take 2 days off, but either way, I think Golden State wins in 5 anyway. But Cleveland tonight, mark it down, call your bookie, place a bet, Cleveland plus 4.5, ship it. Let's go. Lastly, I want to touch on something that's really important to us. Every single podcast, it seems like we've always done something on horse racing, whether it's the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, daily information when it comes to Churchill Downs. Okay, this Saturday, talking about tomorrow, Belmont Stakes. Justify trying to be the 13th horse ever to win the Triple Crown. He won convincingly in the mud in the Derby, won convincingly in the mud and the fog in the Preakness. It does look like the weather is going to hold off. Rain expected on Sunday at Belmont. It should be a fast track. A line of 10 horses going to fire at him. Justify drew the 1 hole. Now, I'll tell you why this is important. Justify drawing the 1, Mike Smith now has 1 choice and 1 choice only. We know Noble Indy is going to go to the lead. Noble Indy drew outside. So if Noble Indy goes to the lead, Mike Smith does not want to be pinched in with Justify. That is the last place he wants to be. So he knows, as well as we all know as handicappers, as just enthusiasts of horse racing, Justify has to go to the lead, has to try and get off that rail. So I would expect Justify, if perhaps he is good enough to win the Belmont Stakes, which, by the way, a little foreshadowing, if you want to get on our email route and find out who I select, please get at us on iTunes. You can send us an email. Also, we now have our own emails with our website, GinoG@ontheswitch.com. You can send me an email. I'll be more than happy to put you on the email route. But if Justify is good enough to win the Belmont Stakes, he's going to have to do it wire to wire. There is no other choice. He won't have any other way. From the inside post, he has to go. He has to get out in front of Noble Indy. If Noble Indy, and here to go back a little bit, if you're an amateur handicapper or you don't know a whole lot about handicapping or horse racing in general, a horse tends to run worse when they are trapped inside. Say the outside horse, if there's 2 horses, 1 horse against the rail and another horse that's on the outside that's leading by a half a length, the horse gets scared that they're going to run into the rail and or run into the horse. So they tend to tire out really quickly. Mentality wise, they get a little bit freaked out. They tend to not run very well. So Mike Smith with Justify from the inside hole has to get out to the lead, has to be in front. That could set up for a torrid pace, which Justify, as muscular, as chiseled as a horse I have ever seen in my life. I think he has the talent to still get the job done, but perhaps, again, want to get on the email route, you can find out who my top selection will be, who I like below as well. Justify is the 4 to 5 morning line favorite. Bravazzo is another horse that's drawn just a little bit outside, going to be a little bit closer to the lead. I think with the finish in which this one had in Preakness, definitely fits in here. Also, long shot play, maybe perhaps. I think, and people are going to call me crazy. I know people are going to listen to this podcast and say, oh, wait, hold on. You talked about Gronkowski. Gronkowski could have run in the Derby. There was an issue, did not run in the Derby. Is bred exactly for this race. Now, might be a little bit better on the turf. That is to be determined. But I will tell you, this horse is bred for this exact race, this exact distance. That is a horse to kind of keep in the back of your minds. I will tell you, it's not going to be my top selection. 3rd place, 4th place, if you're playing tries and supers, that's a horse that I think you definitely need to take a look at 12 to 1 on the morning line. Again, Justify going for the Triple Crown, 6:49 post from Belmont Park on Saturday. Also, when it comes to Belmont Park, we will be breaking down Belmont and Churchill on our email route Friday and Saturday both. We'll have stuff, information, and analysis for Sunday from Churchill Downs. As I said before, if you're not part of the email route, add us on Twitter. Travis, the number 2L, you can send him a direct message. He'd be more than happy to add you on. You can @me @DeVilleKY32. Also send us a message at OnTheSwitch1 on Twitter. If you haven't already, and if you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Get at us on iTunes. Hit the subscribe button. Give us 5 stars. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you all want to hear. Tell us something maybe new. If you want me to break down Santa Anita or different racetrack, Monmouth perhaps, Churchill Downs, went deeper analysis, anything like that, let us know. We're here for you all 100%. But again, to recap everything, congratulations to the Louisville baseball team making to the NCAA tournament. Congratulations to Vince Tyra, who got to keep Dan McDonald, which is a huge get for us as we are monstrous Louisville fans. NHL, congratulations to the Washington Capitals and especially Alexander Ovechkin, relieving all stress, winning the Stanley Cup last night. Tonight, NBA Finals could be over, which, by the way, interesting stat. Since 1983, the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs have not ended before the Belmont Stakes. That could happen tonight, is if Golden State Warriors win tonight, the NHL and the NBA would be done before the Belmonts ever run. That can happen tonight. Golden State at Cleveland. Lastly, Justify. One, as I said, in Kentucky, one in Maryland, now ships up to New York. From everything that I've read, from everything that I've seen, has gained all of his weight, even perhaps more primed for this race than he was for Kentucky. He looks absolutely fantastic in his last work in Kentucky here at Churchill Downs. He is going to be the one to beat at 4 to 5 on the morning line. That's Saturday, 6:50, Belmont Stakes, trying to be the 13th runner, the first one since American Pharoah in 2015 to win the Triple Crown. I hope you all stay with us. As I said, get us at iTunes, subscribe to us, add us at Twitter, send us an email, whatever you can. Let us know how you feel about our podcast, and please stay with us. Keep up with my Twitter. I'll be giving out some selections and stuff on there as well. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. This being Belmont Stakes weekend, Justify going for the Triple Crown. Stay with us, baby.
On the Switch.